to get more done, have more energy, and quit exhausting yourself, so many people are searching for their work-life balance when they actually already have it. This is going to be a really fun podcast today. I am so glad you joined us. The issue is that you're draining your battery mentally. So when you reach the end of the day, you move into like a drone-like state that just sucks all the joy out of you. So today, I want to share a couple of practical tips to help you to actually live the balanced life that you already have. It's the first thing is that's tapping all of your energy is the sheer volume of decisions you are making each morning. You will not believe how I figured it out. But first, I'll tell you the tip, then the story. I'll not ask you to even start to count how many decisions we make daily, because when I was preparing for the podcast, I started trying to count them, and the number of decisions that we make before we walk out of the door would overwhelm you. And that gets to my first point. To start your day, create a routine and stick to it, and don't deviate. Do not give yourself options. Minimize morning decisions by planning the night before and encourage others to do the same. This will take just a little bit of adjustment, but it will create an amazing difference from the first day. Your whole day will start better. I figured this out about 8 months ago on days when I had morning appointments that took me out of the house, meeting with clients or other things like that. I was feeling far less stressed by 9 a.m. than on the days when I was working from my home office, which made absolutely no sense. In fact, I was finding Saturdays to be the most exhausting and stressful day of the week because my husband was home, who I love being around. It wasn't because he was here, but he was home. We didn't have church. We didn't have work. And we didn't have all the other things. But by 11 o'clock in the morning, I was completely frazzled. I know that sounds weird to you, people who probably don't get to work from home. You're like, whoa, I love Saturdays. But I understand that, which is why I was so confused. The reason was on appointment days, I followed the morning routine that I've had most of my life. My clothes were laid out. I walked the dog. I was reading. I was ready in 90 minutes in my car and off to my appointment or meeting. At home, I would not be in a rush, so I may listen to a chapter of my Bible or a book, sometimes a podcast or a video lesson. I'd walk the dog and then think through what needed to be done that morning. I would go to the office, my home office, see some emails, respond, write stuff down on my to-do list. You get the idea that I was trying to decide what to do, what to wear, what to eat, where to eat, the family room, the dining room, the porch, when to start working, what to do first, and so on and so on. You may think, well, that sounds really great. Well, yeah, I thought so too. But it was exhausting me, and the solution was simple. I have my 90-minute task each morning. So now I set out my clothes the night before, no matter what, no matter where I'm going to be in the morning. I follow my same morning routine each day, and instead of leaving my house, I walk to my home office at 8:30, like when I leave my house at 8:30. And I look at the 90-minute task. And by like 9, 10 o'clock, I have tackled the most crucial issue of the day. On days that I have a bit more to do, I'm up in the office an hour earlier at 7:30. And I'm not a morning person. My husband is now, but I'm really not. But this has made me one, because in the last 4 weeks of doing this, I have caught up, experienced less stress, started more project that I've wanted to do, and I've just kind of enjoyed my days more. I enjoy working from home because I'm not making all those decisions. Every single morning starts the same way. And then it's just the venue and the project. So instead of having a meeting, I'm working on my next book, or I'm writing my next podcast outline, or I'm doing a blog, or whatever it is I'm doing that day. This goes back to all of those little decisions. Stop doing what you feel like doing that day. It may sound relaxing when you say it. Oh, I'll just roll with it like on vacation. But, actually it's wearing you out. The reality is that when we go on vacation, we either have a plan, like I'm going to X destination to do the following activities. I'm going to go to Washington, D.C. and see the Smithsonian. I'm going to Florida to hang out on the beach. I'm going to Disney World. I'm going to Mammoth Cave. I'm going out west to Yellowstone. Or you just veg the whole week. Ironically, I think I just kind of made my point, because When you're on vacation, even, you accomplish more of the things that you want to do and end the day happily exhausted when you plan. And when you don't, you sleep, you feel blah the whole day. And while you may be rested, you have nothing that you did, which is fine on vacation, but it's not fine in life. You're spending all your energy on vacation when you don't have a plan, just deciding, like I kind of joke when I go on vacation for my anniversary, the only thing I have to decide is whether or not I want to be in the water and what I want to eat. There's no other decisions. And you know what? That's all I accomplished that day. But that's why you're so exhausted when you're trying to do that from home, because it's not sustainable. All right. So third, and this is actually something psychologists tell you to do, but I don't remember their term for it. I find an antidote for my bad emotions. And it's kind of actually annoys my kids a little bit, because when they come to me with a problem, I'm like, well, here's the thing that's the antidote. I don't say those words, but that's basically what I'm doing. So when there are tough times, focus on the positive. When there are circumstances and situations, work to change them. When we're faced with tremendous financial issues during the Great Recession in the early 2000s, we focused on cutting expenses, getting more jobs. My husband and I were trying to get multiple jobs, and we did, and learning ways to steward our money better and then get training for better paying jobs, which we did. We took control of the parts that we could control, and that leads into our next tip. Life is the journey, not the destination. There are going to be moments that we don't enjoy, like, getting a cavity filled in your tooth, which you can push through by remembering that in an hour, this will be a memory. But if that is days, weeks, months, and even years, then effectively you are wishing away your life, not a situation. You are rushing through to a mirage, which is not living. And that's when you need to find the joy in the struggle. Focus on the positive. Neutralize the tough times with hope. So when my husband had cancer in 2005, there was a lot not to like, and it was hard. But we also had 4 young daughters, and we realized as parents that this was a chunk of their childhood, and we were going to live life. Some may criticize us, and that's fine. You can keep it to yourself if you don't like what we did. But I was going to live through that either way. I was going to live watching my husband battle for his life. Thankfully, he survived. My husband knew he was going to go through really aggressive chemo and radiation to beat back this cancer. And we made a choice that during that year, we were going to have fun during times, not just constant misery. Cancer was not going to be our focus. It was going to be a situation, and we understood it. Even though many parts of it were miserable, we decided our life was not going to be about cancer. Now, I will show you exactly how to use this today. The first few days will be the hardest because you're currently most tired in the evening or after a full day of decisions and thoughts. And you've already got today kind of going, depending on when you're listening to this. You may be most of the way through your day or at the end. But it's going to turn around quickly if you start to implement this. So tonight, figure out dinner for tomorrow. Lay out your clothes for tomorrow. Kids too, if you have them. Write down a list of any errands for tomorrow and what you'll get at each stop, what order to do them, and then when you'll go. For example, after work, I'll go to the grocery and pick up these following items. Then I'll go to this pharmacy at this location, which is on my way to get this. And then I'll stop at the bank and, whatever. I had a loop. Like yesterday, I went to the vet to pick something up and then over to the bank to get some money out, then up to the chiropractor, then over to the other bank where I have my business accounts and did some banking. And then I came back home. And I was like, I'm doing these hand gestures and I'm telling you, I went to the northeast and then I headed west and then I headed northwest and I continued northwest and then I headed south. And I made this big loop. So, but I had a plan. I wasn't going back and forth all through town. And at each stop, I had a spot on my notepad of what I was getting there. And I'm going to give you a download that you can use on the website. So if you go to thebalancedlife.com and you click on podcasts across the top, you'll see the July 18th podcast resource. And it's just going to be a download. Also, my July 11th one's up there. If you haven't listened to that podcast, go back and listen to it. Got a couple really great resources there too. You don't have to give me your email. It's just a PDF. You just download it. So then I had, when I get home, I had my little list out that when I came home, I would put this thing in the oven. I'll have like oven, Instapot, air fryer. If there's something that's shelf stable, like boxed potatoes or canned goods, sometimes I'll set it on the corner on the counter in the morning. Better yet, throw stuff in the crock pot in the morning when you get up, when you're doing your breakfast routine, and then you don't even have to worry about it. So I came home from doing those errands, knowing I'd be home about 4:30, 5 o'clock, right around there. And my husband would be getting home early, so we were going to want to eat when he first got home because we had some things to do. So I had everything out. So when I got back from all those errands, I put my stuff away. I changed into something I could cook in because I had some nicer clothes on. I threw a load of towels in the washer, then started getting the food pulled around out of the fridge. And then I went upstairs and I laid out my clothes for the next day. I had my single project I wanted to do when I came in the morning. I had my to-do list for the person who was helping me. And we had dinner. My husband and I cleaned up after dinner. He did the dishes. I was putting stuff away. And then we went and watched our program from 8:30 to 9:45. 9:45, we walked the dog, lights out by 10:15. So I knew what I was going to do. I didn't have to make a lot of decisions. When I got each place, I had the list. And it may sound exhausting to listen to, but honestly, it was very easy because I just knew the next thing I had to do. When my husband was in school in his 40s, I would schedule out his homework for him because that's what I did for myself in college. And he didn't have to waste any mental energy or time going and figuring out what he had to do. He just sat down and did it each day. And when he was doing it his way, he was struggling and barely passing and always stressed out and studying late into the night, exhausted, all this. When I started scheduling it for him and I said, hey, I see this pattern and routine, do these things on these specific days and do this, he was able to get so much more done. And the stress came with, the intensity of the program, not with, oh, I got to go study. It was just, boom, this is what you do. So obviously modify this kind of stuff to your schedule, whether you're an adult going back to school, or maybe you're in your 20s and you're in college now, or you work from home, or you have multiple jobs, or you have kids or commitments. You know why I can rattle everything off so fast is because it's become a part of what I do. In the mornings, I do all of my main work by noon. And I typically eat lunch and take my showers about 12:30 since I work from home. Nobody cares in the morning that I'm not showered unless I have an appointment. Then I schedule all of my appointments from about 1 to 4, do my errands, and then come home. It helps me save money on gas. It helps me save time by not running all over the place. And I group things together. So I've created that tool that you can use to create your own schedule. This template's super simple, but it makes my daily workflow great. It keeps me moving. Like I was saying at the beginning, you had balance. It's like Dorothy with the ruby slippers. She already had the balance there the whole time. She just needed to know that she had to click her heels and say there's no place like home. That's what this is like for you. So schedule your week and month by using my book, The Balanced Life Week Month Planner. If you'd like to, it's on sale on my website. But if you just want this free download, that's completely fine too. If you have a system that's working that you just need to start using, then go do that. Next week, I hope to see you more relaxed, refreshed, and enjoying life a little bit better. But even if things don't go perfectly, remember, we are all going to fail sometimes. Just try to fail forward. I'll see you next time.